I need a bit of advice here. I don't know what to do anymore. I was 23 when my fiancé proposed to me to marry him. He was the absolute light of my life. It wouldn't be a lie if I said that we've known each other since forever, preschool to now. Our families are pretty close to each other too. You would not believe it, but it was a common practice for us to eat dinner and even sleep at each other's house frequently, so you can imagine how close-knit we all were. We were best friends till we realized we have feelings for each other and want to be together. I have two older sisters while he is the only child. My fiancé was also pretty close to my sisters, so we all grew up together. When we started dating, our parents celebrated for weeks. He helped me deal with my anxiety. Even when I had put on a bit of weight during my teenage years and my mother taunted and berated me that he would leave me because of it, he assured me that he loved me for who I was and claimed that I was the most beautiful girl in the world to him. He even told my mom off. So we were engaged for just a few months before the incident that I am going to share with you guys took place. My older sister, let's call her Edna, was a very cold person. She never showed any affection to me. She only ever opened up to my fiancé as she claimed she saw him as her brother who helped her through a lot of her dark phases, such as law-breaking or battling drug addictions. We both could never see eye to eye, but I loved her dearly as she was, after all, my sister. You can't stop caring for your siblings even though they have been shitty throughout. I don't like her as a person, though. One day, out of the blue, she told me that she wishes to take me clubbing. We had never been together before, and she felt bad that she was so distant to me. So I agreed, and we went out clubbing together that night. I wish I didn't. I don't usually go clubbing. It isn't my thing. But once I had a few drinks with her there, I loosened up a little and began to enjoy myself. It was all fun and drinks until Edna spotted a random guy across the room. She claimed she found him totally hot and walked over to him. I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't stop. Within a few minutes, she was back and had a sour expression on her face. I asked her what was wrong, but she just stayed quiet. I kept pressing because she was visibly sad, and I didn't feel like enjoying myself anymore until she told me what was the matter. She then told me that the guy didn't want her number. He wanted mine instead. I brushed it off because I was genuinely not interested in any other guy, even if I was drunk. I told her he was just some loser trying to mess with us, and there was a sea of guys around who would kill to be with a girl like her. She didn't budge, though. Then she told me that she needed to use the restroom and decided that we would leave after she was back. I waited for almost an hour for her, and during this time I was constantly sipping on drinks, which made me feel buzzed. I figured out that Edna had probably left alone because she was sad maybe. I decided to take a cab home. My head was spinning by now. On the way out, I bumped into one of Edna's exes. She had briefly dated this guy. He asked me if I needed a shoulder to my car, and I explained that I was getting a cab home. He said he was also leaving, so we could probably share one. I told him okay, and we walked out of the club and took the first cab that we saw. I tried to find my phone to inform someone at home about this, but I felt myself getting extremely dizzy and just forgot about it. Obviously, I don't remember much of what happened next because I had passed out after that. The next morning, I woke up on a hard sofa and my head hurt a lot. When I came to my senses, I was shocked to find myself in Edna's friend's house, and my phone was on the table in front of me, but it was flat. When he came out of his room a few minutes later, he offered some tablets and water and explained to me that since I had passed out in the cab and he couldn't remember my address, he just picked me up and got me here where he laid me on the sofa, and then he went to his room. My instant thought after that was about my fiancé. I needed to go home as he would be worried sick about me. I last spoke to him before leaving for the party, and he told me to have fun. When I arrived home in a cab, my parents, Edna, my fiancé, and his parents were all present in my living room. They must be so worried about me. But the second I tried to explain the previous night's events, my fiancé asked how could I do this to him. I tried to offer an explanation about how my phone went flat, but he just went on screaming about how I could cheat on him. I was shocked. I felt dizzy again due to the hangover. I didn't know what to do because the moment I tried to explain myself, I was being cut off. Edna then chimed in and accused me of being a lying Saul and T, and that I was so heartless to a man who had been with me for life, through thick and thin. She also went on to say that I kept flirting with random guys last night, and then when she left me to use the restroom and came back, she saw me leave with her ex. I told everyone what had happened finally. It was of no use. She had photos of me leaving the club with her ex. His hand was on my back, ushering me outside because I was so dizzy. The photo looked horrible. I was so drunk I didn't even realize his hand was on my back at all. My fiancé was extremely angry, and he kept shouting at me, and our moms were both crying at this point. It was all happening so quickly, and I couldn't make any sense of it. I felt helpless. I then thought about Edna's ex, who could obviously explain to everyone that I was at his place and tell them the truth. I asked Edna to call him, but he told a completely different story. He said I begged him to take me to his home, and when he did, we slept together multiple times. I screamed and yelled at Edna because I finally understood that she was trying to frame me and make me look bad. My fiancé left after this and refused to believe me. When everyone else left, my mom slapped me and asked me to get out. I left and crashed at a friend's place where I stayed for a few nights. My fiancé didn't return any of my calls or texts after leaving my house that day. My mom texted me saying that she was kicking me out and that she couldn't believe I would do such a thing, and a lot of other hurtful insults, which I am too embarrassed to share with you guys. She didn't even allow me to collect my things. She threw them all out. I was homeless now, and none of my family would take me in because they all believed the story Edna had painted. She had proof after all to establish her story. I was homeless and single in less than a day and a half. My entire world had been taken away due to Edna's lies. For weeks I tried to get my old life back. When Christmas time came, I went home to try and reconcile. I had been sleeping from couch to couch during this time. I knocked on the door, but no one answered. One of my friends happened to call me and informed me that my family was in another state, celebrating Christmas, and had posted pictures online. Everyone was there: my parents, sisters, grandparents, my fiancé, and his family, except me. I was terribly hurt. When I saw the photos, I couldn't stop crying. They all looked so happy. I blocked them all after a few days and even returned the engagement ring. A close friend who let me stay over for the longest time after I was kicked out knew of someone a few hours away from my house. He was looking for some help in his restaurant and even had living arrangements above so I could get cheap rent and even work at the same time. I took this up willingly. I was tired. No one had taken my side or even tried to believe me. I moved on quickly. The hurt and abandonment from my close ones had helped me deal with life alone. I worked 10+ hours and saved up pretty quickly. I rented a much nicer place but still worked at the restaurant as assistant manager. 2 years have passed after all this. I don't know if anyone would even be interested in the update, but I guess I need to tell my story. I need advice. I haven't spoken to any of my family and have no idea what's going on with them. A few days ago, I got a knock on my door. My ex-fiancé was standing there. All those feelings came rushing back, and I wanted to hug him so bad, but we just stood there for a few seconds before he spoke. I tried to slam the door on him, but he pushed himself inside, and I wasn't holding the door with much force, so he landed on me, and we both kind of lost balance and fell down. He was on top of me, and we were lying there awkwardly for a few seconds before we got up. He cried in my arms, and I couldn't control myself either. We got up and straightened ourselves out and sat down, and he told me that my sister Edna recently got married. Wow, didn't even invite me. She confessed to him that she had framed me. She felt my fiancé deserved someone better as she looked at him like a brother. That's why she asked her ex to pick me up and take me to his house so she could get the photos. Nothing sexual happened between us, and her ex has proof that he was up playing video games all night. I was beyond shocked. She ruined my life for nothing. I can't thank you guys enough for all the comments and suggestions so far. I've written each and every one of them, and I want you guys to know that I appreciate them all. Even the negative ones, saying I shouldn't have agreed to go with her ex that night in the same cab. I was drunk, and he was the only one who I somehow knew at that point, and I felt it was better than going alone in that condition. That's why I agreed to go with him. Anyway, I never got back with my fiancé again. He regrets everything that he did, and that he believed my sister who lied to everyone's faces. I asked him to leave, but he didn't go before hugging me for 10 whole minutes. I know it was weird, but we both needed that closure. I'll miss him, and he is not entirely wrong in this, but I don't think I can be with him after all that I went through alone in these 2 years. He or my family didn't try contacting me even once until now. I'd asked him to leave after I got the complete truth from him about what he and my family were up to all this time, and he begged me for another chance, but I don't think I can get back with him. What do you guys think? Hello again. So my fiancé has finally given up on me because he has kind of got the message that I won't be getting back with him ever, even if I have forgiven him. Speaking of family, a few days after my ex visited me, my dad showed up at my door. So I wanted to update you all who have texted me asking for it. I think my dad must have found out about my new address from my ex. He said he was extremely sorry. He was divorcing my mother, who supported my sister even now after the truth was out. Turns out my sister had married this sweet guy who was crazy about her and immediately started causing problems between him and his sister. She had drug and alcohol issues, which she had hid from him, and was playing games with everyone even after getting married. I'm not surprised. First thing I did was take her husband's number from my dad. I took it so I could give him an idea what a mess he had married and what all she had done with her own sister. I wasn't going to let her ruin her husband's life after mine. She didn't deserve to have a husband anyway. He gave his number to me right away. Then my dad asked for reconciliation. I asked him about the past 2 years and why they never thought about me earlier. They didn't kick my sister out when she was caught doing drugs in high school. Instead, they took us all on a family vacation to another state where my sister got hooked on alcohol and drugs, and still everyone let her do whatever she wanted. My father told me, and it's true, my mom ran the show until now. After finding out about how my sister had ruined my life and forced my engagement to break off, my dad couldn't stand my mom and sister and had hence decided to divorce her. He was also going NC with my sister. I saw that he really was making an effort to be in my life again and deserved a reconciliation. I told him that I wouldn't consider dating my fiancé again, but he insisted that we meet up and give it a try just once because he has been crying almost daily after I was gone. He started looking for me after coming back from that Christmas trip 2 years ago because he missed me terribly there, but was also kinda mad at me, so he gave up after a few months. My dad told me he had been drinking a lot and hardly smiled. My heart melted for him, and today I went to meet him at a cafe. He was elated that I said yes to see him as a couple again. My dad set up our date. He said he had to push a lot for my friend to finally give him my work and home address. I had asked her not to unless I agreed. I knew he would come to my door when he did, but I didn't know when exactly. Same with my dad. The date went well, and I think I am going to forgive my fiancé because it was all one huge misunderstanding created by a third person who is no more in our lives anymore. Thank you guys for reading this and helping me out with the course of my life.